Hello, wonderful cast of Whisper. My name's Ange. I directed and wrote part of the piece. Let's just introduce ourselves. Let's start with Ryan.
Uh, I'm Ryan. My name says Ryange Rebe, but I think it's because I'm child locked right now. I can't change it. Um, but I'm Ryan. You will see me in the piece as Video Blobby, which is my alter ego on Twitch. I'm an experimental theater artist. I co-founded Shoebox Theater Collective. I am also the co-artistic director with Ange. Can't really gesture on Zoom, can you? Wherever Ange is, I'm the co-artistic director with them. But you know, I've been on a sort of a hiatus from directing and producing live on account of the pandemic, and so I found my way to Twitch, which is another live art platform. I've been playing video games, chatting, and doing a little bit of experimental theater, as you'll see with my audience there.
Great.
He, him pronouns. Yeah.
You're up, Taylor.
I'm Taylor Cawley. My pronouns are they, them. In this piece, my alter ego is the Elven Cat, which is an online persona that I created just for this piece specifically. I am a theater artist in Philadelphia. I am also a part of Shoebox Theater Collective, which I got involved with starting a few years ago and happily have found a home there. During the pandemic, I haven't made much theater as I haven't really felt called to the virtual sphere, but I've been very thankful when friends like Ange have reached out to me to do something because I like working with my friends. So that's all.
Yeah. Thank you both for the introductions. My pronouns are they, them, because I haven't said them at first. So yeah, let's talk about virtual theater. What draws you to it? What doesn't draw you to it? And like, how was Whisper different in its creation and its process? And then you haven't seen the final product yet. No, they haven't seen the final piece, but yeah, what you think the final piece will be.
I have to admit that I'm a little bit of a rapscallion when it comes to art, a little bit of a contrarian. So the first thing that kind of drew me to virtual theater was that I saw a lot of virtual theater that I didn't like at all. And I started trying to, I don't know if problem solve is the right word, but conceptualize what live theater could mean from a distance through a digital platform. I didn't think that it could ever be a simple pretending that we're on a stage working with each other as if we were together in person. There needs to be some shift that recaptures the magic of presentness. And so my first project, I worked with Ange as well. I directed and they performed along with our collaborator, Jovita Ramirez. It was called Paul, and it was kind of built around the idea that we want to embrace the awkwardness of these virtual platforms and tell stories that are truly within these worlds, these multimedia worlds, rather than pretending that they're not. And that same impulse drove me to conceptualize Whisper with Ange, which is built very much around this multimedia concept because it's improvisational, it's using Twitch live streaming and video games and written scripted theater all kind of smashed together to create something I feel is pretty new, and that's exciting to me.
My favorite part of theater, the reason that I have always been drawn to theater is the like feeling of connection that happens in the room together. Everything from making eye contact with your fellow performer or connecting with audience members, but like the visceral, like felt feeling of being together is what drives me to do theater. So thrust into the virtual world, I was like, oh, I have no idea how to adapt here. And so the choice that I both consciously made and also just made by default was that I suddenly just wasn't doing much theater besides having dance parties in my room by myself, and singing really loudly in my house. So those have been my favorite activities in this time that have felt like art making, that I hope will continue to inform my theater practice going forward. And as for the virtual sphere that we continue to live in now, I mean, I feel very excited by Whisper because, as Ryan said, it's a mashup of a bunch of different formats, I guess. And I am new to the Twitch platform, but I've fallen in love with it very quickly. And just the way that it creates community and it creates connection that isn't the same as what I'm often seeking, but is like still satisfying in a really fresh way to me. And I like that this piece explores that deeply.
Yeah, a huge reason why I wanted to do this piece in the way that it's been conceived and then performed and done is because of the live audience community aspect that was present when y'all performed it. But you know, the piece itself is pre-recorded and is a master edit of both perspectives of your character and the audience's perspective, which is like super cool. You get three sort of viewings of the piece. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about like this Twitch community and like what is like this online community that the piece is exploring. And I think Blobby is a streamer, so you can talk about it from that perspective, Video Blobby. And Taylor, you mentioned that you've been sucked into the world. Like, what specifically excites you about Twitch? Whoever wants to start.
I'd like to hear your kind of outsider's perspective first, actually, Taylor, if you don't mind.
Yeah, totally. From viewing your channel, Ryan/Blobby, and others, what's immediately appealing to me is the community that exists within each one, which feels so different from like the community that maybe exists on social media, like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, where everything feels so, I don't know, vacuous on social media, but these feel like the communities on Twitch feel more intimate because I think they're built with a little more intention than everybody in the world scrolling through Instagram every day. And I think as a new user, I'm still finding people that interest me. But the exploration of getting to be like, oh, I kind of like this one user, where does this lead me? And the kind of trail of breadcrumbs that you can follow to keep finding more of what you like and finding the people that you want to hang out with.
Something that I heard from people not used to the platform is, why would you want to watch other people play video games? Isn't the fun of it playing video games yourself? And I think that completely misses all of the nuance and like multivarious ways that this new medium, this like a couple decades old medium, is kind of proliferating. Because it's not just me, you know, there's this alter ego thing we've been talking about. We're all performing on Twitch to varying extents. So you could think of it like free range theater almost. When you make a play, you make a world. When you create a Twitch stream, you're kind of the charismatic leader of creating a world yourself. Or as an audience member, you're bouncing between all sorts of different curated worlds as you see fit. You can come in and out of streams whenever you want. It's almost like theater audiences wandering from piece to piece kind of fluidly. So there's all sorts of ways that you can exist on Twitch. There's people who watch Twitch streams just to see the skill, almost like sports. There's communities that are extremely vocal, extremely political. There's communities that are mostly silent watchers. There's music communities, there's art communities, there's just chatting communities. And it's kind of up to the streamer to set the parameters, decide their political stance, decide their perspective, decide how theatrical they want to be. And meanwhile, they're constantly getting feedback from chat, which is everybody who's watching your stream has the opportunity at any point to say anything they want to you. And you immediately get the chance as artists to respond and build something together with the audience, which is already how I preferred theater to be, both in creating it and witnessing it as an audience. My least favorite theater projects have always been ones that simply put up the fourth wall and pretended that we weren't there. Twitch does away with that. And I think that a lot of fascinating stuff can come from that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the first part of Whisper is a structured improv. In process, we sat down as a team, and with Blobby's consultation as a streamer and someone off screen who served as a moderator, a good friend of ours who is a participant in Twitch in this specific community that we were playing in. We sat down and we said, okay, what could feasibly like happen for our play to happen live and not let chat in on the secret at all. Blobby has a pretty medium-sized following. At least like 20 people were watching us while we were viewing this. Only one of those 20 people, which is our off-screen moderator, knew the secret. And so how was it performing the structured improv bit with the unpredictability of chat, having to like face that and also having to meet your targets as actors, like in the specific beats that we carved out together? How was that?
I'm more interested to hear Ryan's response to this. I feel like mine is pretty simple. Because I'm not established in this community and I don't know the people in chat, and there were really no expectations from them on my part, I don't think, as far as how I would show up, or at least I didn't feel that there was. So I kind of felt free to behave as I wanted as my character. But I know that was a very different balance for you, Ryan.
Yeah, in a way, Taylor as the elven cat was sort of a wild card, and wild cards come into your Twitch channels all the time. I've had people come in and say the strangest things. I've had people come in and drop really violent language. I've had folks come in and offer some of the most fascinating insights that I've ever seen anywhere. I've had people speak up and say, I've been watching you for months, and this is my first time saying something, right? So for me, I was a little nervous, I admit, but the work of it mostly came beforehand. We sat down and for about half an hour worked out the cause and effect major beats that we needed to hit in the improv. A big one is, how are we going to get this person that chat won't recognize, a stranger, onto the stream visually, which is something that normally there's quite a barrier there between audience and being on the stream visually, right? And you'll see that problem was solved with money. We invented a fake financial exchange, a donation for a coaching session that I knew that chat would accept as plausible, because someone gives you $45. Yeah, you're gonna be like, okay, how can I help you? So once we had those beats, it was mostly a game of acting and reacting, which is what I do for between 3 and 10 hours every day as a streamer. It's kind of rolling with what people are bringing. And so it was just a perfectly natural reflex for me, because I've been practicing it for almost half a year now. And in a way, it's very similar to directing theater as well, listening closely to people, trying to bring people together, trying not to let communities frazzle. and acknowledging all the discourses that are sort of flowing around you. So I think that the piece kind of captures some of the daily fun and challenges of doing that work. And I run a very open channel with a lot of open discussion, which is not this case with every channel by a far margin. So I guess I have to work out that muscle a little bit more than usual. Damage control is one way to put it.
Yeah. Taylor and Ryan have not seen the piece yet. It is steadfastly being completed and will be done by the time this interview premieres on our website where you're watching it. But I can say as an editor and as a director, like going back, reviewing the footage and putting everything together, it's really seamless the way that y'all were able to handle the improv and the outside conversations that had nothing to do with the play. It's really, really cool to see the skill that y'all brought to this production and like being able to pivot things where they needed to be pivoted, and then rolling right into the scripted part. Like, how was that performing a script after something so like loose and free form as the Twitch live stream improv that you did? How was it different from theater? How was it the same?
Chad is really the third character of the piece. And I think that the exciting thing about live theater and the exciting thing about Twitch and the exciting thing about this synthesis is that you literally never know what is going to happen next. You don't know what you're going to be given. Rolling into the scripted part felt relatively seamless for me as well, other than the natural awkwardness of switching mediums that's within the world of the piece.
Right. So we go, just for clarification for folks that are completely new to all of this, we go from Twitch, which is a live streaming platform, to Discord, which is a conversation that Taylor and Ryan's characters are having in private. So there's no live stream anymore.
Yeah. So in a way, I kind of had an easy street in terms of creating my character because I was just playing the persona that I play every day. And even moving into the scripted part was a relatively straightforward task of playing that persona, but with a few of my boundaries being pushed and a few of my buttons being pushed. So I'm curious how it was to create a character out of whole cloth, Taylor.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of the piece was the movement from Twitch into our call. And part of what struck me, I don't know, like the day before we were recording, and then I really felt it when it happened, was that we went from being live, from being watched by the people on Twitch, and even just Ange and our other collaborator. And then when we got into the Discord call, I was like, it's really just me and Ryan here. Like,
yeah.
Even Ange is not, our director watching the corner. Yeah. And I like loved that intensely, that it was actually just us there at that moment, partially because it was a contrast to what we had just been doing, but also that was really interesting to me in the world of virtual theater, that it did feel like performing, but it was just the two of us. I don't know, I can't really put into words why that felt so wonderful to me, but it did. Yeah, and as far as like creating this character goes, lately when I think about acting, I think much less about becoming someone else and much more about exploring a part of myself that exists and then just gets to come out. And so there were things about this character that in the script I absolutely related to, and then it was fun to take that and kind of layer on top the element of Twitch and let that inform like other things that I discovered about the character. Like as me, Taylor, like going through Twitch being like, what would Will, the Elven Cat, be interested in? I think actually really informed my character's desires and motivations in some way. Yeah.
I think the totally unique movement of this piece from that live performance for Unseen Eyes to Just Me and You, I think that y'all will see that this is a testament to the strength of Angie's writing, because it's a beautiful marriage of form and content. We move from live streaming. Here I am in a kind of second, but a kind of a broader sphere, like direct and acknowledging so many eyeballs, to It's Just Me and You, and it's awkward and it's uncomfortable, and the dialogue that Ange has written perfectly reflects that form shift in its content. And I think that it's just really smart writing.
Thanks. Yeah, so just for even more clarification, in rehearsal, we were on a Zoom call and we were able to rehearse the scripted part a few times. We did table work as you would in a traditional theater production. Then the actors went off, memorized their parts like actors do. And for the performance, I was there for the live on Twitch in the chat with our other collaborator, just making sure if anything flared up that was like way too off base, we could hopefully course correct. But then after that, when they went to Discord, I was just sitting in my room, partially hearing Ryan down the hall because he happens to live with me, screaming or like talking or the scripts, and I just kind of like blocked it out. But that's like a test. Like as a director, that's very that I had that similar feeling on opening nights of shows that I've directed. Like the show is now in the actors' hands, and I really felt that listening to the piece behind a closed door, playing with my cat who is now sitting in this box behind me. Yeah, and that's just a testament to the actors as well. Y'all were prepared. Y'all knew what you had to do. You knew the story that had to be told, and you did it. You did it really beautifully. Something that was also really important to me in making this piece was the aspect of mental health, was the discussion of depression and suicidal ideation and all of that. That is all coming from a place of lived experience for me. And I also wanted to counteract the narrative that the internet is a bad, evil place. Something that I've discovered in quarantine is Twitch, by the way of my friends, by the way of collaborators, by the way of people like moving their productions to this platform, because of the in-person component that we're not allowed to have in-person shows anymore, really, in the ways that we are used to. And what I found in Twitch are like wonderful people that are listening more intently than folks on Facebook tend to, or that want to engage in conversations that are deeper than like an Instagram like, that say hello to you every day, are recurring characters, because they are people on the other end of these usernames. And I wanted to explore that aspect of the internet and of Twitch specifically, how important Twitch can be and feel to people that for one reason or the other can't meet in person, to show that it is a very real thing that happens. And of course, this play is like playing on one of Bobby's anxieties, and what would be any streamer's anxiety, just like a follower of yours confiding in you, something very serious. But it is something that happens, and and I think that this conversation, there's resources on our website that you all be able to visit and refer loved ones or even yourself to if you need it. This piece, I wanted to show people that you're like not alone, and the importance of resources, the importance of conversation, of healthy professional conversation when it comes to mental health, the kinds of conversations that saved my life once upon a time. And I think that these two actors were just so generous and, playing into that very real sort of scenario that happens every single day across the internet and in person. Yeah, y'all don't have to respond directly to that, or if you have any thoughts about the topic, that the nature of this piece, then feel free to say them, but you don't have to.
I mean, the cliche is that all good art begins with a question. And when Ange and I sat down to conceive of what, basically out of thin air, what a new piece could be, we both kind of laid out on the table what we were interested in, but more importantly, what we've been processing, what's really been on our minds. And as Ange has just put it so beautifully, like this is kind of a mashup of anxieties about mental health and anxieties about being a vulnerable but public figure.
And we are all that in a way, like I doubt that the elven cat goes out every day confiding in strangers about how they're feeling. And they felt like they could on your stream. They say that. And that's special. That's really special.
Yeah, this subject matter is certainly relatable to me and relevant in my life every day. And yeah, I mean, it can be scary or intimidating to work with something like this, but I personally didn't feel anxious about portraying this or exploring it or sharing it because I felt confident in my scene partner and my director and playwright, and because these are real life conversations that we've all had together before. I feel very grateful to have people like that, in my real life in Meet Space. But then also certainly moved to be able to create something like this and have it exist on the internet and have it speak to whoever wants to listen.
Yeah, when we sat down and thought about ideas for this piece, I knew that I wanted to put Ryan in it because I wanted to explore Twitch, and Ryan's talented, obviously. But immediately when we thought, oh, this could be like a 2-person play, I was like, Taylor Cawley, of course. Like it was without hesitation. I think I texted Taylor something cryptic like, I have an opportunity. Would you like to be a part of this opportunity? I could call you if I want. And he said yes, and I never called you. But he still said yes. And it not only is Taylor extraordinarily talented, we've all worked together before in varying capacities. We all are friends outside of the rehearsal room. And I knew that this would be a delicate process for so many reasons. Like, this is an experiment in form, it's an experiment in skill as actors, as a director. It's also talking about, it's really heavy triggering conversations that, you're right, we have had as friends in person. And I wanted to make sure that I could create a room, especially as an emerging director, create a room that felt as safe as I could possibly make it, especially not being in person. A space where I could be confident that we'd all be on the same page and using the same artistic and interpersonal language when talking about, when doing the piece. Even in table work, things come up. And I wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be something that we could all be proud of and document, like we're doing right now, and share with future audiences. So these two were the perfect pairing in that, for all those reasons and more. I want to wrap up this interview. I'm getting a timer from the producers. But any parting thoughts about anything having to do with this piece? Maybe anything that you want to update us on, who's ever watching, anything we should know about your life in the next few months? I'm bad at closing things, but I'll pass it off to Ryan, since he's good at hosting and closing things.
Be playful with the world that you live in. I think that play necessarily involves vulnerability with a certain contingent of protecting yourself as well, which is very much in this piece. Grapple with your world, have challenging discussions, and remember that nobody is perfect. It's impossible to be perfect, and that's not something that we need to be striving for.
Mm-hmm. I can't say much else after that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I value curiosity, and it's been a saving value of mine in this time, and this fed that certainly. And I wish that for everyone.
Thank you both for this time and all the time that I've been blessed with in your company. Everyone watching this, pay these artists, continue to pay these artists.
Pay this artist as well.
Their Venmo, their Venmo, PayPal, Cash App is all linked on our site. So please be generous. Arts matter, and have a good night or morning or afternoon whenever you're watching this cute little interview that we've done. All right, we're all gonna wave bye in the awkward Zoom way that you do things. Goodbye, friends.